All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fannon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Floyd Mayweather Jr. CEO Leonard Ellerbe makes some corrections to Terence Crawford's statement where Terence Crawford criticized Floyd Mayweather Jr. for not taking young fighters under his wing, and teaching them the business of boxing, which Leonard Ellerbe says he strongly disagrees with. And I have to tell you, likewise. And to hear it, anything other than that said is, man, it's just pretty amazing to me. But let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fannon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Floyd Mayweather Jr. was criticized by Terence Bud Crawford over the way that Floyd Mayweather Jr. does not work with younger fighters and teach younger fighters how to get ahead in the sport of boxing now that he is a promoter. And Leonard Ellerbe responds to that, who's the CEO of Mayweather Promotions, responded to it in a tweet. And I'm also going to respond to it and talk about it because I don't think that there could be much that's, even from the outside looking in, that's obviously not the case. But before we get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are new, if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean a lot to the channel. But let's get into this, man, because if there is one fighter this century that I think is probably the most, by fans, man, they think he's the greatest thing to ever walk the earth. People that are detractors, man, say some really crazy things about him. And that is Floyd Money Mayweather. Now, the thing that we're talking about in this video is that Terence Crawford mentioned in a podcast, and the clip was shared on Twitter, and Leonard Ellerbe responded to it, where Terence Crawford talked about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and how Floyd Mayweather Jr. in his role as a promoter basically was not looking and taking fighters under his wing and teaching fighters about the business of boxing, about business, and where he may have been doing that when he was a fighter, but now he has his promoter hat on, that he's not doing that. Leonard Ellerbe responded with the word disagree. Which, with Leonard Ellerbe, and I'm definitely a big fan of Leonard Ellerbe, I've been paying I pay pretty much a lot of attention to his tweets and the things that he says. I also pay a lot of attention to the things that Floyd Mayweather Jr. says. Look, if you don't think Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Leonard Ellerbe and Al Heyman are out here teaching young fighters about how to take care of themselves in the sport of boxing, man, I have no idea what you're looking at. None. First and foremost, they are constantly telling fighters what is important in the sport of boxing and what is less important in the sport of boxing. Okay? First and foremost, if you listen to the way that promoters traditionally operate, traditionally work with fighters, right? They would say, and I mean traditionally, like throughout the history of boxing, they want to get as many fights out of a fighter as they possibly can get, right? Without ever, quote unquote, overpaying a fighter. Because if they overpay a fighter, then the fighter doesn't want to fight as much. If the fighter doesn't fight as much, then the fighter is not going to earn as much money for the promotional company. That's the traditional relationship between a promoter and a fighter. You have never ever seen Floyd Mayweather Jr. operate in that manner, where he is trying to string fighters and make fighters have a bunch of fights at low wages in order for those guys to grow Mayweather Promotions, like what is done with other promotional companies. Also, you can just see in the way that the fact that he has Al Heyman be the manager and advisor to the fighters that he is dealing with. And I do believe Al Heyman is an advisor to, and has been an advisor and a manager to almost every fighter that has been with the PBC. I mean, with Mayweather Promotions. For them to say that in that situation, you're not giving them what a fighter needs to, as far as the business of boxing and moving in the right way, that is what Al Heyman is absolutely, at this point, he's famous for and notorious for at the same time. If you look at the way that Gervonta Davis has been moved throughout his career and how he's been developed from somebody that was basically not signed by any other major promoter, taken in by Floyd Mayweather Jr., promoted by Floyd Mayweather Jr., and ultimately let go, allowed to move on from Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mayweather Promotions and start GTD, Gervonta Davis Promotions, right? How in the world can that not be Gervonta Tank Davis Promotions? How can that not be leading a young fighter and putting them on the right path in order to be successful in the game of boxing? Now, there are going to be people that will respond to this and say, well, what about this fighter? What about this fighter? What about that fighter? What about Mickey Bay when he was with him? What about this guy who was inactive? What about this guy? Look, man, you cannot and first of all, not everybody's going to be Gervonta Davis. Not everybody's going to be Floyd Mayweather. Not everybody's going to be Terence Crawford. Not everybody's going to be Errol Spence Jr. either. Not everybody's going to have these successful multi-million-dollar careers where they can afford to sit up on a high hog and tell other people what they need to do. You know, and I'm saying that like sit up on a high horse, not a high hog. Sit up on a high horse, and I mean that with a compliment. Hey, look, those guys are the exceptions to the rules in sports, because that's the exception to the rule in every single solitary sport, that most people, for one reason or another, are not going to make it out of the top of that and are going to wind up having to be the type of people, or being the type of people that are going to have to use boxing and the life lessons they've used in boxing they've learned in boxing to help them in other areas. But that, to me, is absolutely ridiculous, because, I mean, to say that he has not helped these young fighters. By example, he's helped these young fighters I think sometimes to what may become upsetting to boxing fans. Because look, man, we're all party to the business in boxing, not the business of boxing, because business is business. Try to tell people that all the time. Business is business is business. The subject matter changes. The hospital business, the hospital business, the boxing, the business, hospital is the business, is business, and then there's medicine. The subject matter is medicine. But regardless, you just can't tell me that this man has not been a great example to young fighters. Even when you say things like, well, they're not fighting that much. Well, with Al Heyman and these guys, the way that they have taught these dudes to take advantage of getting low purse bid, low guarantees, doing pay-per-views where you're, with a lower guarantee. I mean, I really could go on and on about how I've seen these guys operate at the high level fighters operate, right? And you have to remember also, man, really without Floyd Mayweather Jr., there may not be Al Heyman in boxing. There'd be an Al Heyman in music, and Al Heyman would be doing his thing. I'm sure of it. But Al Heyman in boxing may not be there if there's not for Floyd Mayweather Jr. helping establish the PBC. So I agree with Leonard Ellerby, and I could not disagree more with the statement that Terence Crawford made. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.